necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, what's up? It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us on a Thursday. Oh, yeah, a lot in store for you today. We're going to have some fun today. We don't have fun every day. Sometimes it's miserable walking into the station. But today I walked in, I got out of my car, I said, you know what? I'm going to change things up. We're actually going to have fun today. We're still going to talk about some serious subjects, but we're going to try to have a good time. Anyway, welcome to the show. Glad you are with us. As I said, we got a lot to get to. You know, I've been wanting to interview this guy for a long time. Republican candidate for president, Mark Sanford. Remember he had that issue years back where he said he was in the Appalachian Mountains hiking. Well, he was having an affair, and it did hurt his political career. He's back at it, and he's running for president now. So we're going to talk to Mark Sanford. He's making a lot of issue over how much money we are in the tank in this country, the deficit. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about that and many other topics as well. We're going to get to this NBA load management crap. Have you heard about this? Yeah, Kawhi Leonard didn't play yesterday. Not because he was hurt, but because he was resting. Absolutely absurd. We will get to this story. It's Thursday. That also means it's our Dirty Dining segment with Darcy Spears. And one of the restaurants that she found is a Go-Go. I've been there a gazillion times. You're not going to believe what they found there. So Darcy will come up in hour number 3, as well as Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports. And the Raiders have a pretty big game today. They are playing the Chargers. And a guy from the San Jose Mercury News who covers the Raiders, beat writer John Becker, will be joining us in hour number 3 as well. So as I said, jam-packed show, a lot to get to, a lot to talk about, but a big story that is not just a local story, but it is making national news and is the way that Carolyn Goodman is coming up with this ordinance to deal with the homeless. We touched on it a little bit yesterday. It passed, and it is going into law. They've adopted a controversial proposal. It bans people from camping and sleeping in public areas in downtown Las Vegas and in residential areas throughout the city if there are beds free at established homeless shelters. Under this ordinance, violators could be charged with a misdemeanor crime, but here's where it gets really interesting. It is punishable up to 6 months in jail and or a $1,000 fine. Have you ever met a panhandler, a homeless person living on the streets that could pay a $1,000 fine? In fact, I know a lot of people that work full-time that wouldn't be able to pay a $1,000 fine, that live paycheck to paycheck, let alone a homeless person. So the question is, what do we do with these people that are homeless? Well, let me start with this law that's put into place here in Las Vegas. Let me start with my opinions on that, and then I want to get your thoughts on it. Let me be very clear on this. This is stupid. This is not the way to handle the situation. First of all, if you take these homeless people off the streets and you cite them with a $1,000 fine, they're never going to pay it. Any logical person would agree with me on that. That is dumb. That's number one. Number two, many of these places that are housing homeless people, these shelters, are full. So if you have shelters that are full, these people have nowhere else to go. What do you expect them to do? I believe it will give them reason to commit crimes. I believe it will give them more reason to rob people, to steal from people, to break into businesses, to be sleeping in private property. I believe this is going to cause more harm than good. And also, our jails are not set up. The Clark County Detention Center was not built to house homeless people. Jails are not shelters. Jails should be set up for criminals, mainly violent criminals that can harm society. Not a guy that's living in a sleeping bag on the strip or downtown. That's not what our jails were set up for. Now, I understand and I sympathize with Carolyn Goodman to this extent. I understand that there's not a lot of options here. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. I don't have all the answers. That might shock you. I don't. But, Oscar Goodman, our former mayor, and, of course, the husband to Carolyn Goodman, suggested some interesting things here that I want to share with you. And then we'll take your phone calls because I want to know what you think should happen here at 257-5396. So Oscar Goodman has suggested busing homeless people 30 miles south to a former jail in Jean. It's got air conditioning. It's ready medical treatment facilities as well. And it could be used to train them for reentering the workforce. I actually like that idea. It's a start. Instead of fining somebody $1,000 and putting them in jail. It doesn't make any sense. We have some audio of a homeless veteran. And, a good amount of these homeless people are veterans. It's very, very sad. So we have audio from a homeless veteran that is upset with Mayor Goodman. I want you to hear what he has to say.
They don't hear what we're saying. This is absolutely the beginning, and I will work with everybody and anybody who wants to support this to recall the mayor. This is absolutely unacceptable. I can't imagine what she is thinking, but it certainly isn't about people. And at the end of the day, we are all people. We are Americans, and we are Nevadans.
And I agree with that, but the money has to come somewhere, right? But I really do feel for her. This is someone who risked her life for this country, and she's upset with Mayor Goodman. I get that, but I would ask her, what is her solution? And I ask you the same question. What is your solution to the homeless issue? And not just in Las Vegas, right? Across the country. We know what's going on in California. What is the issue? What do we do with these people? This is Mayor Pro Tem Michelle Fiore. She was on Fox and Friends defending this ordinance, and here's what she had to say.
What we're doing with this ordinance is giving them many options. One, if you just can't camp on public or private property, especially if there's space for you to go and sleep and have a space to come to. Mm-hmm. Second, the officers will ask them to either move along or if they don't know where our corridor of hope is or where the beds are, we'll actually transport them to there. So there's choices.
See, I disagree with her. With all due respect to Michelle Fiore, there's not a lot of choices. Does she not understand that many of these shelters are booked to capacity? Does she not understand how crowded the streets are with homeless people? There is no way that you're going to be able to get all those homeless people into shelters. It is not going to happen. There are not choices. And I like Oscar Goodman's plan here. He's suggesting moving these people 30 miles south to this former jail in Jean. I like it. He also called for panhandlers, saying that the homeless people were coming to Las Vegas in droves, and that must stop. He was attacking panhandlers. He said Las Vegas is gaining a reputation for having a heart for the homeless, and that is unacceptable to me. So some controversial comments from Oscar. He also said that he has no tolerance for panhandlers and hustlers, able-minded and able-bodied people who refuse to work. Listen, that's the extreme. I do think in some cases I agree with Oscar Goodman. But in all cases, no. There are some, the issue with the homeless, there's a lot of different issues here. The number to call, and I have this question for you. What should we do with these people? What can you do? What should we do? What should Carolyn Goodman do? The number to call, 702-257-5396. Again, 257-5396. And by the way, before we take calls, there are a lot of different reasons why these people are on the streets. There's not one reason. We can't single out one reason, but I'll give you some logical reasons. Number one has to be mental illness, right? If you are extremely mentally ill and you haven't received the help that you need, you're probably not going to be able to get in the workforce and get a job. You're probably going to end up on the streets. I think another issue, clearly, gambling, substance abuse, drugs, alcohol, gambling, the bad decisions and choices you make in your life. And yes, gambling is considered a gambling issue or problem can be considered a mental illness. If you have a substance abuse problem, that's a disease. So absolutely, in many of these circumstances, it might not be their fault. These people need help. Now, is that every single person that doesn't take any personal responsibility might be a lifelong criminal? I'm not saying every single homeless person has mental illness. I'm not saying every single homeless person has a gambling problem or a drinking problem or a drug problem. No, but I would say the majority of them do. I disagree with Oscar Goodman on this premise that every single one of these people are scumbags and lazy and don't want to work. I completely disagree with that premise. To me, that's like saying every illegal that crosses the border is a criminal. I'm not going to demonize every single homeless person, just like I'm not going to demonize every single illegal that crosses the border and breaks the law. I refuse to do that, and I'm not going to do that here. So again, I ask you this question. What is your solution? What do you think about this ordinance? Maybe you agree with it. Maybe you think if you're homeless on the streets, let's give them a fine, because I'm sure they'll pay a $1,000 fine, and let's send them to jail. Are you okay with that? Maybe you are. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your solution is to the homeless problem, particularly right here in Las Vegas. And again, that number to call, 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. And let's start off with Alex. Alex, what do you think about all this?
Hello?
Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
So I get out quite a bit and do some work through the church, and we feed the homeless. And I want you to know that I've personally seen you're not even allowed when you're out trying to help feed them or do other things. They won't even let you stop and speak on the sidewalk. Metro patrols.
That's ridiculous.
They're treated very, very poorly. That's number one. I want to make that point because I've seen this.
First of all, let me say thank you. I'll let you let me say thank you first, because people like you you're a good person to do that, to try to help these people. And I'm really sorry that Metro has decided to do that, to not let you try to help these people. So first of all, I'm not a very religious person. I don't say this very often, but God bless you for doing that, for at least attempting to try to help these people. Go ahead, Alex.
Well, thank you. And it's not just me. It's many people who are out trying to help with this particular issue. But that's not really what I'm calling about. I just wanted to say that. But the reason I'm calling is I don't believe that we're doing anything to help the situation when we pass laws and openly say, well, it isn't perfect. It's a starting point. Well, why don't you just huddle up, get it right, get it done in an effective way from the beginning? This is almost reminiscent of pass Obamacare, and then we'll tell you what's in the bill. I mean, come on.
Alex, let me ask you this. I don't disagree with you. Yeah, Alex, I don't disagree with you, but let me ask you this before I let you go. What do you think is the solution here?
I'll be honest with you. I think it's super comprehensive. There's a lot of layers to it. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all. I don't honestly have an answer. I think that it's going to take a lot more than just the city, state, and federal government to fix it. I think it's going to take everyone.
Well, I appreciate that.
This issue go away.
I appreciate your comments, Alex, and thank you for being a good person and trying to help these people. And you're right. There's no easy solution here. I agree with everything you said. 257-5396, the number to call again, 702-257-5396. Talking about the homeless issues and, of course, the new ordinance that was passed yesterday with Carolyn Goodman, fining somebody up to $1,000 for sleeping on the streets and, in some cases, throwing them in jail. Let's go to Eddie. Eddie, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about all this?
Well, first of all, the Goodmans, if it's some sleazebag in a silk suit that has a lot of money to pay legal fees like Tony Spilatro, they don't have any problem of taking all the mob money over the years. So if you're on the top of the food chain, they have one set of rules. If you're on the bottom and you don't have the money to pay the legal fees, or another one. But these homeless shelters are going to be inundated with lawsuits. If these people don't want to be there, they'll say they slipped in the shower and hurt their back.
Mm-hmm.
Or they'll file complaints with the health department.
Eddie, isn't it? And I agree. Isn't it interesting? Right, we're talking about people with money again. If you're somebody with money, you get out of a pretty bad squabble. But if you're a homeless person that's not paying taxes and sleeping on a sidewalk, it just seems to me that the majority of these politicians, you're right, they just don't care about them, I think.
Yeah, well, one of the problems, they had a bunch of flop houses, single-room only motels. They had a dumpy trailer court north of downtown, and they said, well, it's no good. We want to shut it down, and, the so-called gentrification.
Right.
So people, including the Goodman's sons, are real estate speculators, so they bought up all the dumps that poor people used to live in, whether trailer courts or SRO places, and they sit vacant or they yuppified them into high-priced condos. So one of the reasons there's so much homelessness is the dumps they used to stay in have all been yuppified.
Well, Eddie, sadly, you're right. And there's a lot of reasons why many of these people don't have places to live, and that's certainly one of them. And you're also right with what you said about people in suits, politicians. Listen, I like Oscar Goodman. I'll be honest with you. I do. I've gotten a chance to know him very well over the years. I don't think he's a bad guy. I've also gotten a chance to get to know Carolyn Goodman. I've interviewed her on many occasions. I think she is a very nice lady. I think she particularly is very wrong on this issue. We cannot send people to jail because they are homeless. That's not what jail is for. It should be for violent criminals. People who commit violent acts. It's to protect society. Many of these homeless people are not hurting others. They're hurting themselves. Now, some of them are. Certainly, there is a percentage of these homeless people. See, I think about this as I think about illegal immigration, right? A small percentage of illegals are committing crimes. The majority of the illegals are not bad people. I believe the majority of these people that don't have a place to live are not bad people. I've always felt that way. Number to call, 702-257-5396. Let's go to D. D, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, I'm a first-time caller, and I'm a native Las Vegan. And what you're saying, you're actually double talking because you're saying that these people are homeless. First of all, in America, we have no homeless people. That's the wrong term to label people as homeless because of the simple fact is we have too many services given in this nation that no one is beyond receiving help.
Okay, so if you don't have a place to live, I have to interject.
Finish your thought because you were saying that these homeless people there, you keep saying homeless people, they if these laws are passed and then they'll go start robbing. They're already doing the very same things you're saying. That's why you're double talking.
No, okay,
and
well, let me respond.
The poor person, let me finish the
okay,
thought.
Well, you've said a lot of things.
The key to the solution is if you have food and clothing and shelter, that's enough for anybody. It has nothing to do with the amount of wealth you have. The thing is we have a lot of laziness.
You're missing a lot.
We have a lot of people that are running from responsibility.
D, hang on the line. I want to give you a chance to respond. First of all, if you don't have a place to live, whether that's a home or an apartment, you want to call it apartmentless or homeless, we're getting in the weeds here.
They have family. These people are not homeless. They have family.
They don't have a place to live.
Let me tell you. No. They burn bridges. There are people that would take them into
So you're telling me that all these homeless people have a place to live and they just choose to live on the streets?
My mother, one of my mother's cousins, a veteran. And the thing is, my brother, I told him, you never give a homeless, what we call homeless people, which is no thing. I said, if a person asked you for money and they said they're hungry, I said, no, you take them to eat. You meet the need. You take them to eat if they're hungry. You don't give them money. And so he said, this particular individual, it was my mother's cousin. He had just paid on his burial. And he took us to his home, and I said, cousin, why are you on the streets? He says, well, if someone wants to feel sorry for me, I don't mind taking what they want to give me.
And I understand.
So we don't have a homeless problem.
Okay, but here's my problem. But here's my problem with what you're saying. That is that specific situation. Every single person.
No, that's one situation.
Okay, I understand. Let me finish.
You made reference to veterans.
I understand.
We have a lot of veterans on the street, but they're not homeless.
I understand.
They're getting an income.
Okay,
remember, these men work in the field.
Okay, well, let's try to
being out on the streets. They don't mind that you have people that are lazy and running from responsibility.
My problem with what you're doing is you're making generalizations on every single person.
It's not homelessness.
Okay, first of all, there are people out there that have mental illness. There are people out there that have drug problems, alcohol.
Mental illness, anybody can claim mental illness when they don't.
So you're telling me that? Okay, so let me just get your position straight, D. You're telling me that you believe all the homeless people. They have a place to live. They have the means. Hold on, let me finish. Let me ask you. Let me finish.
Remove homeless.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a homeless person.
I gave you ample time. Let me finish.
There's
okay.
No homeless person.
Okay, that's fine. If you disagree with me with that word tough, I'm going to use it whether you like it or not.
Use it, but
I want to ask you. Okay, I would like to ask you.
Okay.
I would like to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
I want to make sure I understand your position, D. Yeah. Your position is that if you are homeless, all homeless people have the means to live somewhere. They have family that will bring them in or friends that will bring them in. It is your position that all these people that are on the streets are making a choice and they choose to live like that? Is that your position?
It's not my position as far as what they choose because you make your life what it is. I don't care whether you remember this nation was a nation of slavery, okay? And to say that these people, they deserve a hand up for doing nothing, that's not so because my parents.
I didn't say that. Where did I say that?
I'm Jewish, first of all, okay?
Okay, as am I. So what?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, we got this whole thing that if you're living on the streets, you can say living on the street. Don't call them homeless.
So, all right, I know we're going in circles here. First of all, I find it unbelievable that we have this huge homeless issue, and I'm going to use the term homeless whether you like it or not. okay? We have a huge issue in society with these people, and you call up and 90% of the phone calls, you have a problem with me using the word homeless. Why don't you have a problem with some of these people that are struggling? Why don't you have a problem with some of these people that don't have anywhere to go? Why don't you have a problem with some of these people that are mentally ill that need help? And you're calling it a handout or a hand up or whatever you want to call it, and your big issue with me is calling them homeless? I completely 150% disagree with you. Many of these people, it is not their choice. They have nowhere else to go. And just because you have one story of somebody in your family that made the choice doesn't mean that everybody else is in that same situation. I'm sorry, D. I appreciate the call, but I couldn't disagree with you more. And yes, if somebody doesn't have a place to live, they are homeless. 257-5396. Lisa, you're next. What's going on?
Good morning. Yes, I couldn't disagree with Dee more strongly. And she is part of the problem, not the solution. That we have a homeless problem for several reasons. They're varied, and one person does not indicate the whole community. And that's part of our whole social problem. I have a daughter who's homeless. We have brought her home many, many times. She's an addict. She needs help for her addiction. We cannot find help for her addiction. So there's many families trying to help. The system it's crumbling. We have to fix it. And people like Dee do not help. You can't just feed somebody and expect that they're lazy because they don't accept a meal.
No, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, Lisa.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, Lisa.
And
yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't going to call because it's a very sensitive subject. Having a homeless daughter as a parent to be looking on the
No,
street.
Lisa, you're the type of people that I want to hear from. Lisa, make no mistake, and I'm up against a break. I apologize. I'd love you to call back another time, Lisa. You're the type of person I want to hear from because you're experiencing it, okay? You know what it's like to have a daughter that is on the streets, and my heart goes out to you. And people like Dee who call up who think that, it's all their fault and we shouldn't help them. It is absurd. We're going to take more of your phone calls, 257-5396, 702-257-5396. I promise I will get to all your calls on the other side of the break. We're talking about this new ordinance that was put into place, fining someone $1,000, putting them in jail if they're sleeping on the streets. We'll take a quick break, take more of your phone calls on the other side. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Dispatch, medevac air transport to I-90. Car on fire. Unknown casualties.
When minutes matter and the ER is too far away, air emergency care could save your life. But insurance companies don't count your minutes. They count your money. Tell your member of Congress to fight the insurance companies.
Paid for by Alliance for Access to Critical Care.
Are you ready to experience a whole new way of doing business? The Human Resources Game Changer is here. Hello, friends. Jim Nance here, letting you know that Insperity is now local right here in Las Vegas, bringing you a different kind of HR service. You know, running a successful business is complicated with ever-changing laws and regulations, benefit plans, insurance. It can be downright overwhelming. Insperity helps to remove those obstacles that your business faces. Full-service HR, employee benefits, and HR software have never been so easy. Insperity has put down roots here with a team that knows what it means to be a true HR partner. They redefine everything you thought you knew about an HR company. Get to know Insperity, Vegas. Finally, the HR game changer is here. Visit Insperity.com to find out more.
Let me ask, do you have discomfort or problems with your knee, back, or shoulder that makes it hard to live your life and do simple things like work out or even go for a walk? Hi, I'm Donna Taylor, founder of CBD Labs. If you're one of the millions that suffer with discomfort, you really need to try CBD Labs, the gold standard in CBD. CBD Labs is full-spectrum CBD, tested in FDA labs, and goes to work in just minutes. My knee and shoulder discomfort was so frustrating I had trouble moving around. So we researched CBD from the hemp plant that contains no THC and created the most concentrated CBD product available. It works so well, we guarantee it. Problem solved. So call now to find out how to get a free bottle of CBD Labs. Oh yeah, we also created an ebook on everything and anything CBD that is your free gift.
To get your free bottle of CBD Lab CBD oil, call 800-605-2712. That's 800-605-2712. Free bottles for a limited time. Call now. 800-605-2712. 800-605-2712.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
Hi, this is Trooper Chelsea Stunkel with the Nevada Highway Patrol, reminding drivers that with the recent legalization of recreational use of marijuana, it is still a form of impairment when you get behind the wheel. So please don't drive impaired. If you drive high, you will get a DUI.
720 on the AM, 1015 FM.
Yeah, now on FM.
The only FM news talk station in Las Vegas. KDON.
The U.S. and China could de-escalate the trade war if a first phase mini-agreement can be reached. Correspondent Christina Alessi reports.
This is contingent on phase one of the trade deal actually being signed. So there's a lot of euphoria this morning around this news, but the reality is that there's a major contingency around this rollback of existing tariffs.
Fired National Security Advisor John Bolton was a no-show this morning before the House impeachment inquiry. Bolton would testify if a court says he must answer a subpoena by Congress, but reportedly Congress will not subpoena him. Jennifer Williams, an advisor to the vice president, is testifying behind closed doors. Iran says it turned away a United Nations weapons inspector last week because he tested positive for suspected traces of explosive nitrates. A move came as Iran was stepping up its nuclear enrichment program. On Wall Street, the Dow was up about 240 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
The crash on I-15 northbound at the 215 Southern Beltway, blocking two right lanes. Stay left to get by. Expect a big backup now, heavy from Silverado Ranch. And an accident on the 215 Beltway westbound Decatur, vehicles off left with stop and go from the I-15. Another accident 95 northbound north of Charleston, vehicles remain off to the left. When you're sick, every minute counts. Go to dispatchhealth.com where high-quality medical care comes to you. Visit dispatchhealth.com to learn about medical professionals that make house calls. Dispatch Health, covered by most insurance. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, or even with type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Affordable term life insurance is out there. Call Term Provider and speak with Big Lou at 800-481-1458. 800-481-1458 or visit biglou.com. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever. 99 cents plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
Hey, have you heard that ransomware attacks have increased by 500% this year?
Yeah, cybercriminals are targeting all types of businesses, encrypting their data and holding it hostage unless they pay up.
What if we're their next victim?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda to detect, prevent, and recover from ransomware and other advanced threats.
So we're secured?
Absolutely. We'll pay no ransom and keep this business up and running.
That's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
I don't want help. Leave me here. I don't want any help.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us on a Thursday. We're talking about this very controversial ordinance that was put into place in regards to the homeless situation. And, I say in Las Vegas because this pertains here, but it's an issue that is happening throughout the country, certainly in California. And this new ordinance basically says that if a homeless person is sleeping on the streets and if they don't go to a shelter, appears as though regardless whether or not the shelter's full or not, they can receive up to a $1,000 fine, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And they could spend up to 6 months in jail. And make no mistake about it, jails are not set up for people who are homeless. They are for criminals. I want to get your thoughts on this at 257-5396, 702-257-5396. And a reminder, coming up here at the top of the hour, Republican candidate for president Mark Sanford will be joining us. Again, that number, 257-5396. Let's start off with Sheila. Sheila, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, I was homeless here in Las Vegas with my husband and my daughter, and it's not a matter of shelters per se. It's a matter of the resources that Las Vegas highly lacks for their homeless.
Can you, and listen, you lived this, so I want to hear from you. Let me ask you this. How did you get out of that situation? I'm assuming you are not homeless anymore.
No, I'm not. We actually got housing through Help of Southern Nevada.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so there were some resources that helped you, but you think the resources aren't sufficient, and you were one of the lucky ones. Is that fair to say?
Correct. And I was also, I dealt with being homeless in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
And their big focus out there is mental health. That is a huge issue, mental health and veterans.
Sure,
and
I agree.
They kind of go hand in hand.
Listen, I agree. And in the first segment I talked about that. So let me ask you this. When somebody calls in, like one of the callers last segment who says that you all are lazy, get up and get a job, and then when Carolyn Goodman puts this ordinance into place that says if you're homeless, you could receive up to a $1,000 fine, which I think is ridiculous, and you could go to jail for up to 6 months. What would you say to our mayor as someone who was homeless with your family?
She's ridiculous and needs to rethink this bill. It's not going to make the problem easier. It's going to make it worse. And as for finding employment, you literally have to have a card for everything to get a job in Nevada.
So you agree with me too?
Sheriff's card, gaming card. It's ridiculous.
So, Sheila, you agree with me too, because it's my opinion that if they're going to throw people fines and throw them in jail, wouldn't it make the problem worse in this sense that some of these homeless people, they feel like they have no other choice, they'd be committing more crimes?
Exactly.
So you agree with me. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Sheila. Your opinion means a lot more to me than somebody else who hasn't been homeless before. I'm so happy for you and your family that you are able to get out of that situation, and you're doing better now, Sheila. I'm really happy for you, and I appreciate your story. Thank you so much. Glad that somebody was able to help her. 257-5396. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Nan. Nan, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about this?
I think it's terrible. There's no compassion or empathy, and it's not what the USA is made about. I think, I'm a senior citizen. I've been forced through traumatic experiences to be in a situation that is nearly homeless. I have been through a lot. I've had windows shot out of a job that I had of being a caretaker because they didn't want me there, I've been forced now, because I can't afford any apartment or anything, to live out of a rental vehicle.
Are you living out of a car right now?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. And you don't have a job?
No. Who's going to hire a senior citizen that doesn't have any training? I'm a displaced homemaker, and it's like I've been vandalized, I've been victimized. You name it, I've been through it all.
Nan, you know what, Nan? You're not lazy. It's not like you don't want to work. So what would you say to somebody like that who's never been in your situation before? And I'm so sorry you're in that situation. What would you say to somebody that calls into this show and says, "Oh, you all people are not homeless. You could go somewhere if you needed to go somewhere. You're lazy." What would you say to somebody like that?
I'd say you're wrong, and I would disagree with them, because there are situations that people don't like to even share. And if they don't communicate their problem to people, then how is it going to get resolved?
So what do you think?
It's like
What do you think is the solution to this? It seems like a loaded question, and I don't really know the answer to it. What do we do with the homeless situation here?
Well, there should be more resources and more beds because, you go into a homeless shelter, from what I found out, and there's not any available, and you have to be there at a certain time. Otherwise, you don't get the shelter, no matter who you are. So it should be open, for people to be able to go in there, on call in emergency situations. They don't even have that. I mean, I look at it as an 8-to-5 job, and that's not the way people live.
No, you're right, Nan. You're
live
right.
on the street.
You're right, Nan. I listen. I really do appreciate the phone call, and I'm so sorry about your circumstance. I hope you stay safe, and I really hope there is a place out there that will say, you know what, we'll hire you. I don't care if it's $8 an hour or minimum wage, a cashier, some place out there that can hire a good woman like yourself who clearly wants to work, who is not lazy. Again, that number to call is 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Whoa, went back to puberty there for a second. 257-5396. Let's go to Brian. Brian, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about this?
Well, it's a multifaceted problem. It's, as you've been stating, Brian, there's a whole bunch of different things involved here. But do you think that it's compassionate to let somebody camp out on the sidewalk in front of a business?
No.
Impeding traffic into that business and
No.
defecating on the sidewalk, urinating on the sidewalk?
No, it's horrible.
Throwing their hypodermic needles in the gutter?
No, it's horrible, but I don't think the solution, Brian, is giving a homeless person a $1,000 fine either. I don't think that's the answer.
Well, what they're doing is they have to have some sort of a mechanism to clean the people off the sidewalks. You've got, as I told your producer, I posted on your website under the thing from Stretch Sanders a couple days ago. I just put it on there. It's a video, 1-hour special done by Como News in Seattle on this very problem. It's called Seattle is Dying.
Yep.
And it's going to show you both sides of the story, not just one side, but both sides. And it's going to show you the people who are affected and the businesses. There's a Jewish graveyard where they can't even go in and decorate their graves because the homeless have set up encampments surrounding the whole place. And every day they have to go in and clean up hypodermic needles, defecation, garbage, and it's gotten beyond a joke. And so one other thing I'd like to mention is the reason there are so many mentally challenged people on the sidewalks today is because back in the 80s, the ACLU said it was unlawful to keep people in mental places where they were getting mental health for their situation.
Brian, I have to ask you a question.
Out onto the street.
I understand. I have to ask you this though. Again,
Yes.
I don't disagree that it's terrible. I don't want to see these homeless people out there struggling. I want them all to get the help that many of them I believe need. But I do not believe, as I said, the answer is giving somebody a fine and sending them to jail. I don't think that's the answer either.
Well, and it's not. It's part of the answer though.
How is part of the answer fining a homeless person $1,000? Explain that to me.
Did you also see there's a grace period for 3 months?
I don't care how long the grace period is. If they don't have a job, Brian, if you don't have a job, how are you going to come up with $1,000? I don't care if it's a month or 3 months or 6 months. If you're not working, do you think these homeless people care about getting a ticket, cited for a ticket?
Brian?
Yeah.
I have a homeless daughter, okay? She's 45 years old.
Okay.
She's lost her children. She had a very good job. She had a very good car. She had a 3-bedroom, very nice apartment. And within 10 years, she's thrown it all away because of bad choices that she's made with men,
Brian,
with drugs, and other things.
Okay,
and so she's
Brian,
living on the street
I understand.
right now in Salt Lake City.
Brian, I understand. Let me just interject here real quickly, and I apologize, Brian. I got to get to some other callers. But here's my problem with you bringing that up. And I truly am sorry that your daughter is going through that. But that is your daughter. That is your circumstance. That is that specific situation. Just because your daughter made bad decisions, just because your daughter maybe has had some bad luck with men, does not mean that every single homeless person on the street made those same choices. Every situation is different, Brian. And again, I'm sorry your daughter's going through that with those personal choices that she made. And I'm sure if she had to do it all over again, she would have done it differently. But every individual that is homeless has a different story, with all due respect. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Robert. Robert, you are next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, I got a comment for Brian there.
I'm right here, Robert. I'm right here.
Okay. You're right. Every situation is different. But if giving homeless a fine is okay, well, let's see. Put them in jail. You need jail guards. It's going to cost more money that way.
I agree.
Why don't they just build more shelters?
I agree, Robert. I couldn't agree with you more. I am so against this new ordinance put in place. The fine is absurd. Jails were not meant to keep homeless people in there and serve them 3 meals a day. They are for criminals. Okay, and you're right. From what I've heard, listen, Robert, you've been listening, right? You've been listening this hour. Yeah. We've had several women call in that are homeless, that are saying the main reason for that is not, necessarily because of the situations or the decisions they made. There's not enough help. There's not enough shelter. There's not enough situations out there that are helping people like this. And I feel sorry for them if that's the case. And instead of putting these stupid ordinances into place and costing taxpayer money for putting somebody in jail, how about building a few more shelters? Why can't we start there?
Yeah, that don't take overtime and everything else, because you don't need guards at shelters.
Right. No, you're right. To me, this is, listen, I'm sure you'll agree, Robert. This is a difficult situation. There's not one easy solution. If we built a couple shelters, there'd probably still be some homeless people out there. I have no doubt about that. But why not start? But why not start there, right? Let's give these people some more resources. And, some of these people need some help, right? I'm sure there are some, not all, but I'm sure there are some of these people that are so effed up in the head that they wouldn't even go to that shelter because they don't know what's good for them. And these people need help. It's going to cost taxpayer money.
Right. Well, if people are out there listening, hey, little quick resume. I'm 55, very capable of working, plenty of experience everywhere.
Right.
But I'm homeless. Who the hell wants to hire me if I can't even take a shower every day?
Sadly, Robert, you're right. And this is an issue in society, and I don't know what the easy fix is. I appreciate the call, Robert. Thank you. 257-5396 is the number to call. Why don't we go to John? John, you're next on the Vegas Take. Go ahead.
What up, Brian? It's John Brew.
What's going on, man? What do you think about this?
Oh, well, I just had a little story for you, and I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Sure.
There's a woman. I live in the southwest part of town, and there's not a ton of panhandlers over there. And there's this one woman who I happen to know her story. She's, about 70 years old. She got cancer, lost her job, and she became homeless. And when she panhandles, she's on this quiet corner. And she's, you could see she's full of shame. She doesn't want to be out there. She hangs her head in shame. And whenever I get a chance, I'll, give her $20. And I'm not one to give panhandlers money most of the time, but this woman, I know her story, everything else.
Sure.
One time I pulled over, and I was on my bike, and I gave her $20, and she was so thankful. And she, every time I do it, she almost comes to tears.
Mm.
And 2 different cars started screaming expletives at me for helping this woman. Now, while the way they went about it is probably disgusting, I understand their point, because if I'm helping one panhandler and somebody else finds out, people are giving panhandlers $20 at this corner, next thing you know, it's like the broken window syndrome where all of a sudden more people are going to come. And I think people have the right to not have panhandlers on their street corners.
I agree.
So,
I agree with that. I don't think the answer is giving people money. I've never given a homeless person money. I know many people that have, and I'm sure you're doing it for all the right reasons. John, I personally believe that you should be giving people food and resources. Soap. I think that's more valuable.
Many times, like I said, I'm not one to give money to panhandlers.
Sure. I understand.
One particular woman, I know her story. But many, many times I see homeless people outside of McDonald's, and I'll buy an extra meal and give them the meal and so on and so forth. But I found the one underlying constant in all of the phone calls, all of the stories, is that every single case is different.
And John, you're right. John, I got to get to some other callers, John. I appreciate the call. You're absolutely right. Every case is different. Before I take another phone call, I want to play for you this audio, okay? This is Mayor Carolyn Goodman, who did an interview a few days ago. I like Carolyn Goodman, but I got to tell you, I'm really pissed off. I'm really pissed off at this new ordinance and her reaction to this. She was asked some questions about this new ordinance. This was on Fox 5 the other day. Here's Carolyn Goodman in her own words.
This is a population that doesn't understand. That's what this is directed to say. You know, we're here to help you. I don't want help. Leave here. I don't want any help. That is not what we want. We want to hear, please help me. I want the help. Get me help. Get me food. Get me clean. I don't like the disease.
First of all, that reminded me of Donald Trump. I don't want to help. What are you doing, Carolyn? You sound like you sound ridiculous when you do that. Are you mocking someone that maybe has a speech impediment or maybe has a drug problem or maybe is mentally ill? Because certainly that's what it sounded like to me, Carolyn. You sound foolish. And if we can get Carolyn on, I would love to ask her why she decided to imitate her version of somebody that is homeless that maybe is mentally ill. That was absurd. And that was an embarrassment. What do you mean the population that doesn't understand? I think we all understand, Carolyn. What the hell are you talking about? 257-5396, 702-257-5396. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you're next on the Vegas Take. What do you think about all this?
Yeah, hey, in my opinion of what I would do, maybe it's the ACLU wouldn't like it, but there are a lot of military bases that are either abandoned or not being used. These people could be picked up, taken there, housed, rehabilitated.
Yeah.
Peace Corps could take care of these people.
Joe, can I ask you something? Because I don't know if you heard me earlier, but Oscar Goodman actually suggested something similar to what you're talking about. Have you heard about this? It's 30 miles south of Las Vegas, this former jail in Jean. It's got air conditioning, and it's medically ready to help these people. So you would agree with that, right?
Yeah. And if people don't want to go into a house, they could take their tents and live on the base or on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And still have facilities.
No, I'm with you. Listen, I'm with you, Joe, 100%. I mean, I think this is what we need to do. There's no question about it. What we need to do is we need to figure out with some sort of solution. Joe, I think you're onto something. I agree with you. I agree with Oscar Goodman. Let's put these people on an abandoned military base. Let's put these people at an abandoned jail. It's certainly better than being on the streets, and it's a lot better than citing them for a $1,000 fine, which is absolutely and totally absurd. 257-5396, the number to call. Let's go to Dale. Dale, you're next. What's on your mind?
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
I just think, in all honesty, like you said, that there's no point to fine people $1,000.
Yeah, it's stupid.
What they're really doing is they're just setting everybody up for failure.
Right.
You're going into a jail system, then you're going to get out. Within a month, you're going to have a warrant. Then they're going to arrest you again, put you back in jail, and the city gets $150 every day you're sitting in jail. So it's just a way for them to make money and to get people off the streets so it looks cleaner. So it's a win-win for them. They really don't care about helping anybody.
Sadly, I think that the majority of politicians, and it really pains me to say this, but I agree with you, the majority of politicians, their top priority is not helping the homeless. I mean, sadly, right?
You know, Brian, but you have to ask yourself, are they safer on the streets or are they safer in jail?
Are they safer on the streets or are they safer in jail? Well, I would personally say in some circumstances they might be safer on the streets, and in some circumstances they might be safer in jail. As I said, I think it's a case by case basis. Go ahead.
Well, if you're in jail, you're just going to sit there and go crazy. I mean, I've been locked up, and
That's
there's
true.
no positive thing that comes from it except for meeting more criminals, learning more ways on how to scam the system, and then you're just getting set up into failure. And if you don't have any help, you're not going to beat the system because they don't care. If your job interferes with you showing up to court, anything.
Yeah. But you're guaranteed a bed. You're guaranteed meals. You aren't guaranteed access to drugs. You aren't guaranteed access to gambling.
Yeah, no,
a lot of the things that probably
away
made
your
you homeless in the
temptation
first place,
for
you don't
sure.
have access to.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, if you don't have temptation, yes, it definitely helps with that.
All right. Well, listen, Dale.
The problem is you got to get yourself out of the situation. If
Exactly.
you don't have help to
And that's
get
the
out
hard
of the
part.
situation,
And
you're
they
just gonna
also
do the
have-
same thing.
And that's the hard part, Dale. And by the way, I appreciate the phone call,
Thanks
and
for the call, Dale.
I agree with you. 257-5396, the number to call. Again, that number 702-257-5396. Let's go to Sean. Sean, you're next. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. One, I'm a disabled veteran, so I got lucky.
Thank you for your service.
When I got homeless, when I became homeless, I ended up at Veterans Village, so I had a resource there. But I got to tell you something. Carolyn Goodman isn't far off. She what she said was, and the way she said it was wrong. But there's a large group of homeless people, and I know this because I used to give them clothes. I worked on a line once a month, give them out clothes, food, all kinds of stuff, resources, bus passes. We took them to the dentist, get dental work done so we could get them jobs. And there's a large group that do it as a profession. They travel around the country. They come to Vegas in the wintertime from like Ohio, and they'll come out here in the winter because it's warmer. They're homeless here. Then they get a bus pass back to Ohio in the summer because it gets too hot here.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. But we need better resources with mental health because of that group of people and the veterans, get screwed out there.
Yeah.
Because they don't even know that they have mental health issues.
No, listen, Sean, here's the thing. I don't disagree with what you're saying. And I think the problem is we need people to come together. We need people like yourself, people on maybe both sides of this issue that maybe won't agree on everything, but to come up with some sort of solution for the good of the taxpayer and, guess what, for the good of these people that need help. And I appreciate
we need to open hospitals.
Absolutely.
Mental health is a huge issue in this country.
I agree, Sean. Thank you for the phone call. I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. I want to do this real quick. I was thinking about this. So there's a guy that's on the line right now. Speaking of mentally ill, there's a guy that is on the line right now. He has complained about this show. He has complained to management about this show. He has basically threatened me on the air. And I said to myself, I'm probably not going to let this guy call in anymore because he is mentally ill, okay? But I want to bring him on the line. I've decided that I want to do this, as a couple people probably would disagree with me on this. But, Wilfrey, why do you continue to listen to this show? Oh, good. He stopped listening. Okay. Wilfrey, don't call back here anymore. Don't call into this show anymore. If you're going to complain about this show to people and you have a problem with what we do, then, go take a flying you-know-what.
Yeah, and the Alan Berg comparison was completely over the top.
Nobody knows.
And unnecessary.
Nobody knows what you're talking about. Alan Berg, he is a guy who. No, you know what? I'm not even going to repeat that. Let's not even talk about it. Yeah, I wouldn't even bring that up. But there are certain people, listen, that disagree with what we do and disagree with an opinion. I have no problem with that. They're welcome to call in and debate. Don't say something stupid, but call in and have a good debate. That's fine. But when you decide to complain about, maybe, hate speech, I think is one word that this gentleman described it as, it's absurd.
Well, he basically suggested that I reach across the table and try to attack you for you disagreeing with me on multiple occasions.
All right, well, he's on the line right now. Wilfrey, I'm not going to let you call into the show anymore, okay? My belief is that you're a nut job. You've said negative things about this show. You've called into other shows. I am banning you from calling the show. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's communistic and un-American.
Well, guess what? I think you're a nut job. Goodbye. You're never calling into the show again. You are banned from calling into the show. The second you call into another show bashing this show and complain to management about the show means you're a loser, you need to get a life, and you're never calling into this show again. Have a nice day, Wilfrey. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to be joined by Republican presidential candidate Mark Sanford. This is going to be a lot of fun, folks. Interesting guy. Interesting past. I've been looking forward to speaking with him, and he'll be joining us next on The Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
Tuscany Suites and Casino is the place for locals to play. Every Monday and Wednesday, Tuscany is giving 11 and 7 times multipliers just for playing your favorite games. If you're not a member of the Players Club, it's easy to sign up and take advantage of all the great member benefits, including free slot play and comps to their award-winning Best of Las Vegas dining outlets like Pub 365 and Tuscany Gardens. Visit the Players Club for details. Tuscany Suites and Casino, 2 blocks east of the Strip at 255 East Flamingo.
So how's your boy doing in school?
Not so good. His grades are getting worse, and all he does is play video games, and when I finally get him to do his homework, he says he doesn't understand it.
Oh, that sounds like my daughter. Well, not anymore.
What do you mean not anymore?
My daughter started going to the Infinity Math Institute about 3 months ago. I sent her there as a punishment because she got an F in math. Boy, was she mad at me. But 1 week later, she was talking about how much she liked it. Now she has an A in math, and all her other grades have gone up too.
Get out of here. That sounds too good to be true.
I know, but it is true. When I went down there to check it out, I couldn't believe how nice everything was and how everyone was so nice. I never knew anything like this even existed.
I went to another tutoring place, and they were too expensive. It didn't help all that much. Infinity must be super expensive.
That's the craziest thing. They're less expensive than any of the other places and so much more effective. You should call them. They even have scholarships for families with financial struggles. Tell them Sharp and Shapiro sent you for a discount.
I will. What's their number?
702-768-1777. That's 768-1777, or you can visit them at themathinstitute.com. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Does your child love math? Do they just love math so much that once they finish their homework, they want to work on extra math problems just for fun? Anyone? If you answered no, then you are not alone. While your child may not think math is important for their future, we know better. That's because Infinity the Math Institute offers the best math tutors in Las Vegas, produces the best results at the best prices for kids of all ages. Infinity the Math Institute does it all. Does your child need prep for the SATs? Right now, SAT preparation classes in November are just $15. Fractions, algebra, geometry, decimals, you name it. Plus, Infinity offers homeschool programs, free seminars for parents and students, and whether your child is transitioning from elementary school to middle school to high school, or preparing for college, Infinity can help. Classes are filling up. Call us now to find out more. 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. You want the best results for your child? One call to Infinity can have a huge impact on your child's future. Call now, 768-1777. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you.
My name is Janine McCoy with United Blood Services, and we need your help. Blood donations are low during this time of year. Take an hour out of your day to save 3 patients' lives. Donate now. Go to bloodhero.com, or you can call us at 702-233-9620.
Your home for Sean Hannity. KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Boosting NATO. France critical. I'm Mike Moss. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in Germany to commemorate the historic falling of the Berlin Wall says the U.S. is committed to NATO.
I think NATO remains an important, critical, perhaps historically one of the most critical strategic partnerships in all of recorded history.
French President Emmanuel Macron claims a lack of U.S. leadership is causing the brain death of NATO, insisting the European Union must step up and start acting as a strategic world power. President Trump is denying that he asked the Attorney General to provide him with cover in the Ukraine probe. More from correspondent Bob Costantini.
No less than 5 presidential tweets denying the published report that he wanted Attorney General William Barr to hold a news conference, declaring the president's call with Ukraine's leader did not involve a quid pro quo. Mr. Trump writes, Bill Barr did not decline my request to talk about Ukraine. The story was a fake Washington Post con job with an anonymous source that doesn't exist.
Democrats on the impeachment inquiry will not subpoena former National Security Advisor John Bolton. He was called to testify today, but was a no-show. Instead, Democrats say they will use it as evidence of administration obstruction of Congress. Jennifer Williams, an aide to Vice President Pence, is testifying today. She was on the infamous July 25th call with the president of Ukraine. President Trump's technology advisor has warned about China exporting authoritarianism globally in parallel with its rise as a tech power. Michael Kratsios told a major technology conference that, quote, if we don't act now, Chinese influence and control of technology will not only undermine the freedoms of their own citizens, but all citizens of the world. The U.S. and China have agreed that if they can reach a first-phase mini-deal on trade, they will rescind some tariffs and refrain from imposing new threatened tariffs. The Dow is up 262. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Sam and Ash. Watch for slowing for a crash I-15 northbound at the 215 Southern Beltway, blocking the right lane, slowing from Silverado Ranch Boulevard. Also an accident I-15 North Sahara at the exit ramp. And on the 95, an accident northbound at Las Vegas Boulevard. On the surface streets, accident with injury sustained reported Charleston at Valley View Boulevard. Police and fire with the scene expect slowing and lane restrictions. You deserve accident attorneys who are in your corner and do what's right. You deserve Sam and Ash. Call Sam and Ash 24/7. 1-800-304-2000, 1-800-304-2000. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Blue Emu Lidocaine Cream and Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis Cream both are deep penetrating and odor-free. Beat the pain 2 ways and live life. Blue Emu works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, rolling out hour number 2 on a Thursday. So glad you could join us. And lots to get to here coming up in the next few hours. But, you know, the guy we have with us on the line right now, I've been wanting to talk to him for a long time. He decided that he is running for the presidency of the United States as a Republican. And it's not like he's not a stranger to politics. This guy has an unbelievable history. He's been around a very, very, very long time. In fact, he even served in Congress from 95 to 2001 and 2013 to 19, was governor of South Carolina from 2003 to 2011. He's been around a long time. He's got a lot of experience. Mark Sanford joins us right now on the line. Mark, I appreciate you coming on. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for letting me join you.
Yeah, I appreciate it,
Mark.
So let me ask the basic question to start out with. What made you decide to enter this race?
I believe, as an absolute core conviction, that we're walking our way toward the most predictable financial crisis in the history of our nation, and we're not even debating it. We're not even having a conversation. On the Democratic side, it's a debate of more versus more, and on the Republican side, it's sort of the three monkeys of I hear no evil, I see no evil, I speak no evil. And so you look at trillion-dollar deficits that we've never run in peacetime and good economic times as we have right now. You look at the deficits that are accumulating, the fact that, the debt's going up by $100 million an hour, and we're having zero conversation about it, and it's going to have profound consequence, not just for us, but frankly, our kids and grandkids.
I mean, do you think it's just a distraction with all this stuff going on? First it was the Mueller report and now the impeachment inquiry. Because I happen to believe that the president isn't above the law, and I'm sure you would agree with me on that one. Obviously, it's a distraction, and it takes away from helping people in this country and policy, and I'm sure you would agree with that as well. But let me ask you this. What do you make of this impeachment inquiry, and do you think it's hurting the country?
I do think it's hurting the country. I don't think anybody should be above the law in our country, period, president, anybody else. But what I have said is if you look at the last two impeachments, they took place at the beginning of second terms wherein, frankly, there was little other recourse to the Congress. What I've said is it's a lot cleaner. Just go out and if you find wrongdoing and you can prove it, again, one is innocent until proven guilty, but if you find it, then censure him and say, we don't approve, but we trust the American public to get it right because the election is just a matter of months away. We trust you. I think that's a lot cleaner message than an impeachment that doesn't go anywhere because by all accounts, on both sides of the aisle, there's agreement that it's going to be awfully tough to get 20 Republican senators in the Senate. And if you do that, what you do is you have something that sucks all the oxygen in the air out of the room in our ability to discuss other issues that are relevant and important to people's lives, and you codify his behavior. And by all accounts, there's been some weird behavior from his end, whether it's impeachable or not is a debate, but it certainly behavior unlike any other president on some of this stuff. And so what you don't want him to say is, see, I've done nothing wrong. The Senate absolved me of guilt. So I think a censure would be a lot simpler. Get on with it. Let the people decide. And let's get back to issues. and discussion on things like the debt and the deficits that are accumulating, they're going to really hurt our lives.
And I certainly do not disagree with you on that, and it needs to be talked about. But and if, by the way, if you're just joining us, Republican candidate for president Mark Sanford on the line. Now, but I got to ask you this: you joined former Massachusetts Governor William Weld and former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh seeking the GOP nomination. Trump has referred to the three of you on Twitter as the Three Stooges. What is your reaction to that?
Not to react. It's the same crazy spin cycle. I mean, what he always says is something inflammatory. People stand up on top of the table and say, "Oh, I disagree. I'm wrong. He's wrong. Whatever." They respond, and about the time the media stop covering that, then there's a new crazy accusation the following week. I mean, it's the same spin cycle.
I agree.
And what he does is he controls the media cycle in that process, which may be good for him, but it's not good for us because it means we're not discussing issues. So I've said, you can call me whatever you want to call me. You can call me Donald Duck, or you can call me, I don't know, Pickett. But at the end of the day, who I am is irrelevant. I happen to be a two-term governor. I happen to serve 12 years in the United States Congress. But I'm a guy that's a taxpayer, and I just care about the way in which we're burning money in Washington. And we're setting ourselves up for a financial collapse that would hurt every one of us, and we're sleepwalking our way toward it.
You also have a decorated military background, so thank you for your service. In that regard, I want to ask you this. I believe that...
Let's be clear. It's not decorated. I was a pencil pusher. I was, there are guys out there at the front, and there are a lot of people that support those guys that are out at the front. I was not at the front. I was just, in a support role many, many layers back.
How would you handle social media as president of the United States? Like, I mean, I think Twitter and Facebook is necessary in this day and age, and obviously Donald Trump goes over the top. But how would you handle it? How consistent would you make tweets, et cetera?
I mean, I think it's okay to use them since that seems to be a way that people communicate. I don't like it because I think a lot of the problems confronting our society cannot be boiled down to, 200-something characters. I mean, they're just more complex than that. We'd love to make everything that simple. We'd love to dumb down arguments. And at times they involve rolling up the sleeve and sitting across your brother, your business partner, across the kitchen table, and you got to talk for an hour to get it figured out. Yeah. And the same holds true in politics. And so I would say I'd use it sparingly, because I don't think that all issues can be boiled down as simply as at times we try and do in the modern age to fit with media. And I'd also say I do it with respect. I think that one of the problems of this president is that, whether it's General Mattis being the dumbest general or General Kelly, who's now the dumbest chief of staff, or Rex Tillerson, who's dumb as a rock, who ran one of the biggest corporations in America and was the president's Secretary of State for a while. I just think that you don't have to tear everybody else down to convey or uplift your own ideas.
Well, I want to bring that up because, as you know, Mark, when you decided to enter this race, you knew that people were going to try to pick you apart, people that weren't on your side politically. And, you're no stranger to conflict, and you've made your mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and we all understand that. But you had the issue in 2009 where you faced the word impeachment, right? You faced the word impeachment without getting into grave details, because that's not why we wanted you to have you on the show today. But you had that issue in 2009 where you said you were in the Appalachians or in Argentina, and you were having an extramarital affair.
I never said anything. Somebody who was on my team said it, and if they said it, I'll own it. Obviously, there's great regret around them saying it, but there's even greater regret around the fact that I lived a lie in that chapter of my life. I fell in love with somebody I shouldn't have fallen in love with. And it was disastrous at many different levels. But here's the amazing part of the story. I finished out the year and a half in the governorship. It is an amazingly humbling journey to go on when the people who know you best a couple years later say, look, we don't approve of how you handle that chapter of life. You let yourself down, your God down, your boys down, a variety of others. But we know you and we trust you, and we'll give you a second chance, and we'll send you back to the United States Congress to represent us.
Right.
That is an amazingly humbling journey to go on. And
sure.
all I'd simply say in that is I learned a lot. And again, I'm not making excuses for it, but I learned a lot.
And one other question on that, and then we'll move on to another subject, because I don't want to misstate what happened. I want to be fair to you. So is it a fair statement to say that you lied to your staff and you told your staff that you were hiking and you didn't tell them the truth? Is that a fair statement to make?
Again, there's always a conspiracy that's created in these things, which there wasn't. I told one person, thinking that one person, and only one person, might call. If you want to get really technical, I was under a trial separation with my wife at that time.
Gotcha.
And I thought she might be the only person that called. I told that one person, she called, tell her this. Here's a great lesson for everybody listening out there. That, not so little, that white lie to one person, aimed for one person, became a national laughing stock and a national story. And it's a reminder to all of us of the fact that there is no such thing as a little white lie.
Right.
And that which you might intend for one person can end up being, in my case, a national news story with incredible consequences for me and those that I love.
Now, and I am sorry that you had to go through that. And I think any decent human being
it's my
felt.
own doing.
Yeah.
I'm not turning excuses to anybody else.
Sure.
It's my own fault, and the consequences came with it.
So two-part question then, and we can move on. And I appreciate your candid and honesty with that. So number one, how does President Trump get away with the lies on a daily basis? And number two, I'm amazed that you are still willing to be in the public eye, even knowing that, a situation like that can just be extraordinarily embarrassing. And being in the public eye, you've been through it. You've been through difficult times. So number one, how does Trump get away with it on a daily basis? And do you not think about that when you decided to get back into this race, that you would be among scrutiny for it?
I'd say it's to the second point. Of course, I thought about that, and it was one of the sort of last T's to cross and I's to dot with my four sons. I went to them and I said, "Look, you guys have been to the fire on this thing before. At the end of the day, if you don't want me to do it, I won't do it." And they, it took them a while because they were skittish based on the trial that I put all of them through. But ultimately, I said, "Dad, this is really important. And you do need to talk about it. Don't know that you'll be successful, but this needs to be talked about." And so after I got their blessings, I moved forward. And but was it something I thought about? Yes. Was it something I was concerned about? Yes. But I'd say this. I remember talking to somebody in the church, and they made this point. It's something I've hung on to, and I've just passed it along for what it's worth. And they said, Satan's a great tempter before things happen, but then he's a great reminder after things happen. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And what happens if you've made a mistake in your life is there is a temptation based on the remembrance that you have of that event, or the fact that other people remind you of that event, is just to go crawl in your hole for the rest of your life and hide, because you just don't want to, reopen the scab or have people pick at the scab. But that's a mistake. I mean, all of us are imperfect. I mean, one of the things that I've walked away from that experience with is an altered view toward judgment and a much greater level of empathy toward others and the frailty of the human condition, and the fact that we all have a chapter of life, whether public or private, we wish we could push rewind play on, but that's not how life goes. And so you do as best you can in the day you got, and hopefully you give people a little bit of grace and them making their way through their day. But what's important is for all of us to crawl back out into the arena of life and say, look, I'm an imperfect human being. I'm an imperfect messenger. But here's some things I believe. And I think that that's something that we should all think about.
So let's talk policy here. We've had another Republican presidential candidate on the show, and he basically stated that he was running on the fact that he wasn't Donald Trump, which
Joe Walsh. Yep.
With Joe Walsh, which I don't think really is enough. What are you running on policy-wise that is different from Donald Trump, Mark?
Well, I'd say the big one, as we've been talking, is the deficit in government spending. End of story. That's the bullseye. I mean, I was rated the most financially conservative governor in the United States of America by the Cato Institute. I got the different merit badges when I was in Congress by the National Taxpayers Union or Citizens Against Government Waste. I mean, I think I was the first governor in the United States of America to turn back stimulus funds when they were offered back in 2008. I was, a governor walked in with a pig underneath each arm in the State House decrying the fact that they were putting pork over a constitutional mandate on limited spending. I mean, I could give you, again, hundreds of stories where I've tried to fight the fight on watching out for your pocketbook or your wallet. And so the bullseye for me is our numbers are absolutely unsustainable. And it's my simple hope, and I'm not delusional about becoming president. I can't beat Trump in the nomination. I'm not delusional there. It's a simple hope that if a bunch of us get together, though, and raise this issue, we can maybe make it a part of this debate. Because if we don't, we're going to wait 5 years to have a debate on spending, and I believe it'll be too late. The history is that financial markets correct numbers if politics won't. And if we wait, the financial markets will correct it for us, and it'll be bloody for your savings account, your retirement account, your ability to get a job and go down the list. And so the primary goal of mine is where I'm on debt and spending. The president is a different spot. He said, if you elect me, I'll eliminate the debt over the 8 years that I might be in office. And instead, he's done the reverse, and he's proposed budgets that increase the debt by $9 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say the big one is on debt and spending, but another one is on trade. I mean, I think we got to have a conversation as Republicans about what we believe on engagement with the rest of the world. I think it's a mistake to back away to the degree that he has. I would say as well, the president at times goes sort of overtime in tearing down institutions that are part of the glue that's held our system together. And it's not to say that institutions don't need to be challenged. It doesn't mean that some don't need to change. But when the president goes out and says that Jerome Powell, who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve, is an enemy of the state, that's too far. I mean, what you're doing is you're creating greater distrust in, again, institutions that are part of the fabric of what I think has held balance of power in place for 200-plus years.
Mark, do you mind if we take a few phone calls from some of our listeners that have some questions for you? Great, I appreciate that. Joining us on the line Joining us on the line right now is Republican presidential candidate Mark Sanford. Certainly has a ton of experience in the political world, and we'll open up the phone lines to you right now at 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call, 257-5396, if you have any questions for Mark Sanford. Why don't we start off with Stephen? Stephen, you're on with Mr. Sanford. Go ahead.
Yes. Mr. Sanford or Mr. Mark, or what would you prefer to be called?
Hey, you. Hey, you, Mark, whatever.
Just don't call you late for supper, okay? I tell you, I'm high most respect for Trey Gowdy from South Carolina, and I just do you know? Are you familiar with? Are you friends with him?
Oh yeah. We served in Congress together.
Okay, great. I'm assuming you're going to have a website or something that people can get to.
Yeah, you can go to it. It's marksanford.com, and you can get more charts and graphs than you'd ever want to see on debt, deficit, and government spending. But I think that they're important. So there aren't enough happy pictures, but there are plenty of charts and graphs that I think are important to your life.
Got it. I will be taking a look at it, and hopefully I'll be able to. I'm shadow banned from time to time, but I hope that whoever does that sees fit to allow our communications. I think that, as you made reference to, the glue that held our society together, I think is the Constitution, and I think that the First Amendment had to be first for a reason. Mm-hmm. And when we lose that, when we start arresting people for what they say, we're definitely headed in the wrong direction.
Stephen, I appreciate the call. Let's let Mr. Sanford comment on that. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I mean, I'd just say two things. One, to his point, if people want to learn more and kick the tires as to what I'm about, go to marksanford.com, and they can, again, draw conclusions for themselves, particularly with regard to the degree to which we all need to focus on this debt deficit problem and how it's going to impact our lives. As to the First Amendment, the Constitution, and the framework that the Founding Fathers were absolutely genius in setting up, I could not more completely agree. And, I mean, they were so studied in the way that they looked at history and thought of its implications in the way that politics ought to work. I totally agree with what he said.
All right, why don't we go to Kathy? It's my understanding that Kathy met Mark Sanford at the Vegas sign when Mark was in town. Kathy, go ahead. You're on with Mark Sanford.
Hi. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on. Governor Sanford, it was an honor to meet you. And
Well,
I'm
other
just
way around.
blown
What a
away.
small world. I get to see you then and talk to you now. So other way around.
I was just so impressed because you and I had spoken about the situation you'd gone through in your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you have such humility and worked through it, and you're so transparent about it, excuse me, is that it just so blows away what we're living with now with someone who
That's a good point.
can never say, I was wrong, I'm sorry, nothing.
Kathy, can I interject here? Kathy, you're so right. You make such a good point, by the way. I want to ask Mark Sanford about that. Have we ever heard the President of the United States apologize for anything, Mark?
No, I'm sure he has, in fairness to him as a human being. But, yeah, what he said publicly is basically there's nothing for which I'm sorry. And I'm thinking, respectfully, what kind of world do you live in? I mean, most of us, we do walk around, and there, as I said earlier, things that we wish we could redo and do differently, but that's not life. We get it as best we can as we go through, and sometimes we do make mistakes. What's important is to say you're sorry and move from there. And I appreciate so much Kathy noticing that. I do try and own my stuff. I think we all own our stuff.
Sure.
We all got stuff, but we ought to own it.
I agree with you. Kathy, thank you so much for the phone call. I couldn't agree with you more, and that's something that Donald Trump can learn from, I think. 257-5396, you have a question for Mark Sanford. Why don't we go to Marge? Marge, you're next on the Vegas Take. You're on with Mark Sanford. Go ahead.
What's up, Marge?
Thank you for taking my call. I've been seeing your advertisements and everything, and I think they're great. I guess I have a two-part question. And by the way, I agree with you about this whole issue on the deficit. It's kind of shocking that a Republican is doing what they're doing. But my two-part question is, number one, a lot of people have already gotten into the campaign. They're accumulating their funds. They're up in the polls. So that question is, what's your strategy to get, equal to or better than them? The second is, as Brian and JD certainly know, we've been talking about this whole homeless issue. And do you have any thoughts about how we can address, that problem on a city or national basis?
Good questions, Marge. Mark, what do you say to that?
As to trying to work my way up in the polls, it's a day-at-a-time process, and it's all the traditional ingredients that go into politics, whether that's, I did a show in Boston. I'm up here in New Hampshire right now the other night. You talking to folks there. I was just walking through a shopping center. I was talking to folks there. It's just trying to be out there. And what is you can't do it on your own. It's really important that, I oddly enough, I'll have to send it to you guys. We just produced a $1 trillion bill with my name on the face of it. Looks like a dollar bill, but it's in fact $1 trillion bill, and it has some sort of fun stuff on it, talking about the $22 trillion debt, how the debt's going up by $100 million an hour, and it's got the website and whatnot. But and I'll make it a point right after the show to send it to you. But I was saying in a social media post that we put out, please send this to friends, because I can't do this. I can't create the conversation on my own. But if enough of us do, I can be a catalyst for other people talking about it. The crazy $1 trillion bill can be a catalyst for people talking about it. If enough of us do, then we can get somewhere. And that's what I'd ask for folks to think about. As to homelessness, I think it ultimately, I believe in what the Constitution laid out, in that those powers that were there for the federal government ought to be handled by the federal government. But those powers not enumerated, named, are left to the states and to local government and to individuals. And so I think the homelessness issue ultimately ought to be tackled at a municipal and a county and occasionally a state level, but probably best handled at a more local level than having one-size-fits-all coming out of Washington, D.C.
That's certainly what's happening here in Las Vegas. Well, listen, Mark, next time you're in Las Vegas, we'd love to have you in studio and invite you back in. Maybe you could spend a little bit more time with us. We really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on, and we wish you luck with your campaign. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks so much, and I'll send you $1 trillion. It's on me, all right?
That sounds good. That sounds good.
I'm holding you to that, Mark. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. We appreciate that. Thank you. Republican presidential candidate Mark Sanford joining us. I'll take him up on that. I'll take $1 billion cash. That's fine.
He actually said $1 trillion.
Oh, $1 trillion. I apologize. Gosh, I'm undervaluing
that would
the
make,
offer.
That would make us the richest men in the world by about $350 billion.
I think we
Get
probably
out of my way, Jeff Bezos. You're done.
Would probably be able to build our own studios with that much money.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right. So when we come back, this is a story that is really ticking me off. We've had a couple stories that have ticked me off today. NBA players deciding to take a day off when there is a game. Are you effing kidding me? $25 million a year and you're going to take days off from work? Oh, we're going to get to this. The NBA is allowing it to happen. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to The Vegas Take.
Hi, it's Sam.
Hey, it's Ash, and we're Sam and Ash, your personal injury attorneys.
An accident is incredibly stressful. Handling an insurance claim, totally overwhelming.
Also, the insurance companies have zero interest in giving their money to you, because honestly, that just cuts into their profits.
Our team is in your corner because you deserve what's right, and that's full compensation for your injuries.
So call us 24/7 at 1-800-304-2000 or visit samandash.com.
Sam and Ash.
What's right?
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
If you need to sell your house,
talk to Aaron Taylor.
You want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
Do you have an ugly or distressed property? Or maybe you just don't want people trampling through your home? I will buy your house, giving you cash in 5 days, a cash advance within 24 hours, and always giving clients top dollar. And for you traditional sellers, I know exactly what you want. You want the most money possible for your house. You want a real estate agent that answers their phone. And you want honesty and communication along the entire process. Folks, my name is Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy. We have helped thousands of people just like you for over 24 years. I am grateful and committed to being the #1 real estate professional in the state of Nevada. Go to therealestateguyLV.com and see our amazing reviews. 702-310-6683. That's 702-310-MOVE. 702-310-6683. Powered by eXp Realty. Call for details.
talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Parents, you always say you want what's best for your children. If that's the case, then you should be bringing your kid to Infinity, the Math Institute, where every student earns an A or B in math. Our results are proven and they are amazing. The best tutoring service for the best price, whether online or in person, small group or one-on-one. You cannot get better results. Great grades will come when your child truly understands the math. From elementary math to calculus, we have the best tutors, the best materials, and the best results. Now offering free parent seminars on how to better help your child, what is Common Core, and more. Find out why parents are bragging and students are enjoying school again by calling 702-768-1777. That's 702-768-1777 or visit themathinstitute.com today. Tell them the Vegas Take sent you, because at Infinity, you don't get more math problems, you get solutions.
101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON, the talk of Las Vegas.
House Democrats are signaling they are now on a fast track in their impeachment proceedings, avoiding court battles that could delay their inquiry and limiting the number of witnesses at public hearings. All signs that President Trump could be impeached by Christmas. Funerals have begun for the 9 American women and children brutally slaughtered in northern Mexico. Family member Julian LeBaron is angry and wants to find out who did it.
What kind of men opens fire on women and children? Because they knew they were women and children.
More from correspondent Gary Tuckman.
Right now, as we speak, funerals are about to take place 140 miles south of us here in Tucson, in their hometown in Mexico. Yesterday, many family members were here. Some still remain in the hospital behind me visiting the children. Other families members left in a convoy so they could be safe as they drove across the border to go to the funerals today.
The U.S. confirms there could be a rollback of tariffs if the U.S. and China can come to terms on a Phase 1 mini trade deal. The Dow up 240. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads in the KDON Traffic Center.
This report sponsored by Sam and Ash. Watch for slowing for a crash I-15 northbound at the 215 Southern Beltway, blocking the right lane, slowing from Silverado Ranch Boulevard. Also an accident I-15 North Sahara at the exit ramp. And on the 95, an accident northbound at Las Vegas Boulevard. On the surface streets, accident with injury sustained reported Charleston at Valley View Boulevard. Police and fire with the scene expect slowing and lane restrictions. You deserve accident attorneys who are in your corner and do what's right. You deserve Sam and Ash. Call Sam and Ash 24/7. 1-800-304-2000, 1-800-304-2000. John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Are you interested in owning rental properties right here in the Las Vegas area? Auction.com, the nation's leading real estate auctioneer, must sell 102 rental properties in the Las Vegas and Henderson markets. These are turnkey, income-producing single-family homes and condos with tenants and leases in place. That's right, the tenants are in place and currently paying rent on over 100 homes to be auctioned individually at auction.com/radio. Financing is available and a broker co-op is being offered for this one-time unprecedented online auction to be held November 11th through 13th. Add more rentals to your portfolio, diversify your investments to add real estate, or buy your very first real estate investment. This is an auction that can't be missed. View all homes and auction details at auction.com/radio. That's www.auction.com/radio. Auction is subject to a reserve.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. The world is changing. Isn't it time smoking changed too? Vuse Alto is a vapor product offering you a satisfying alternative to cigarettes. Simple to use, surprisingly quiet, and impressively powerful. Our best vapor yet at our best price ever, 99 cents, plus tax at participating retailers. 99-cent offer applies to Alto device. Pods sold separately. Underage sale prohibited.
I feel great. The kind of great you feel when you luck into a parking spot right up front. The kind of great when you score one of those jumbo-sized candy bars at Trick or Treat. Hi, I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress, and you can feel great too. Here's how. Right now at the Best Mattress Veterans Day sale, save up to $800 on the brands you know and trust. Serta, Sealy, Beautyrest, Stearns & Foster, and Tempur-Pedic. And 72 months no interest financing. Feeling great already, aren't you? Best Mattress, home of the 120-day Sleep Easy guarantee. See store for details.
O'Reilly. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts for our See Better, Drive Safer sale. Right now, get a $15 gift card after mail-in rebate when you purchase a pair of Bosch Focus or Trico Titan wiper blades. We'll even install them for free. Plus, you'll earn double O Rewards points. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey guys, hear what the kids are saying about Infinity, the Math Institute.
Going to Infinity is a lot different than school because the faculty and staff in Infinity are a lot more one-to-one on you. They don't just care about getting the work done. They're about trying to change your life.
So before I went to Infinity, I had an F. I now have a B+, so it really helped me a lot with math. I like going to school now because it's easier for me. It's like not a struggle.
Infinity is a place where you learn new techniques, not only for math, but for life as well. It's also a great place to meet new people and make a lot of different friends who share the same qualities as you, and you just get a whole new experience.
It's different because if they have like questions or problems, you can talk to someone if you need that help.
Call Infinity, the Math Institute at 702-768-1777. That's 768-1777. Infinity, the Math Institute. Don't get more math problems, get solutions.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
This is a population that doesn't understand.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Our producer just showed me one of these Sanford $1 trillion bills. So he's going to send me one of them. I don't think it's worth $1 trillion, but I'd like to get him to sign it. I'll hang it up on my wall. That's kind of cool. That is the voice of KDWN news anchor John Schaefer. That means It's time for the news. John, what's going on?
Well, as you guys were talking about earlier this morning, despite protests about the war on the poor, Vegas City Council passed a law yesterday making it illegal to sleep on the streets when beds are available at established shelters. The measure, framed as a ban on camping downtown, makes Las Vegas the latest city in the U.S. West to take steps to try and deal with complaints about homelessness. The law makes it a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine for sleeping or camping in public areas.
All right, John, I know you're a news guy, and it's not your job to be opinionated when it comes to these issues, but we've been talking a lot about this week, and I have to ask you what your opinion is on this, because my thoughts are that this isn't going to help the issue. In fact, you could make the argument it's going to make it worse. You've lived in Vegas a while, just like I have.
Yes. I kind of can see what they're trying to do with the part of if we can get them off the street and get them help, maybe it will help them out in the long run. But yeah, just all of a sudden rounding people up and putting them in jail is not going to help the problem because the jail's already overcrowded with actual criminals.
I mean, when I get cited a ticket...
And I agree with you what you said earlier. It's not... You can do whatever you want. There are people who choose to be homeless, and they don't want your help. And it doesn't matter what you try and do; they aren't going to go.
Let's not punish everybody for that.
Putting them in jail is not going to help their situation either.
You have to look at it. Vegas is expanding as a relevant city on a national scale, and you can't have in between Stratosphere and Fremont Street looking like it does in any Syria. I mean, like, if we want the Super Bowl, we can't have that. Like, we will not get the Super Bowl in Vegas if that were to take place. There's about 5,000 people moving here a week right now. Probably the fastest growing city in the country by a lot. I think you have to do something about the homeless problem, but again, you have to make sure that you have the jail space. Because if you do have the jail space, then they're not getting access to the drugs and the problems that they had to make them homeless in the first place. They're getting a bed, they're getting food, they're getting shelter.
And then when they're released from prison, the same thing's going to happen.
Exactly, because they're not getting the help in jail that they would get if they went to a shelter with services.
There has to be some services, and there has to be some developmental options to possibly maybe to get a degree or get a job down the road.
Lastly, what I will say to that, and then we'll move on, I understand, I don't disagree with you. Yes, in a perfect world, we don't want homeless people all over the place. It's bad for businesses, but I get that. But that shouldn't be the number one priority. You know what should be the number one? Hold on, let me finish. You know what should be the number one priority? I'll tell you what the number one priority should be. Helping people in need, helping people with mental illness, helping people that are less fortunate. I think that's what the mayor needs to focus on, and I think if all the politicians focus on that, let's get somewhere. All right, go ahead, John.
Conservationists raising concerns about an expansion plan at a southern Nevada ski resort they say overlaps with a habitat for an endangered butterfly. The plan includes miles of new mountain biking, skiing, and hiking trails, along with a zip line, mountain coaster, and expanded parking lot. It's all part of Lee Canyon Ski Area's master development plan intended to keep up with growing demand.
Have you ever done the zip line, by the way, here before?
Yeah, I've done the one on Fremont Street.
I heard a story that someone went on the zip line on Fremont and was urinating. Is that true? Somebody told me that. Is that a true story?
I've heard that story as well. If you do that, it might be funny at the time, but it's not going to be hard to catch you because they'll just wait for you at the end. You can't go anywhere.
There's nothing better, like if you're hanging out, you're on a date, you're walking down Fremont, and all of a sudden you feel some wetness on your head, and it's somebody peeing from up above.
I also
Nothing
don't know
better
how
than that.
you would do it because I did the laying down one, and I don't know how you would ever be able to get it out and go with all the harnesses you have on.
We're talking about number 2, though, yeah. Right?
No,
number
either
1.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
Anything.
enough. All right, go ahead, John. That's disgusting. Go ahead.
A new ethics complaint has been filed against Clark County School District Superintendent Jesus Jara. It accuses him of spending taxpayer money on personal travel. He makes $320,000 a year as superintendent. In April, he took a business trip to Boston and New York City. He then flew to Florida for vacation. While he paid for that flight, the complaint says Jara billed the district for his one-way return flight to Las Vegas from Florida.
What do you think about that?
This is the same guy that had the $3,000 bike, right?
Yes.
Yes, and he's managing a $4.4 billion a year budget, right?
Sounds like the perfect guy for the job.
For what is one of the largest school districts in the country, but also the worst school district in the country. This guy probably needs to keep his job for at least 20 more years. He's great at it.
give him a contract extension. Pull a UNLV athletics and give the guy a 10-year extension. Yeah, let's do it.
Honestly, he should be in jail, in my opinion.
And then buy it out.
Absurd. Yeah, exactly.
1 year later, then buy out the next 9 years.
And then pay him off. Yeah, exactly. Pull a UNLV. Go ahead.
Oh, well, Lady Gaga called out sick last night, missing one of her shows at the Park Theater for the first time. She says she had a sinus infection and bronchitis, but she will return to the stage tomorrow.
A sinus infection. Now, Lady Gaga strikes me as one that doesn't mess around with too many drugs. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I mean, you could look at her outfits and maybe you could think otherwise, but a sinus infection, I don't know. Should I be thinking that she's snorting things, or is that...
She actually had a documentary come out where she was actively using drugs in the documentary, I believe.
Listen.
And she spent most of it naked. So I think you may be incorrect there.
Well, you know what? When I think sinus infection and I think musician, sadly, I think of drugs. But I hope that she's okay. I'm just making some ridiculous speculation. But actually,
fair.
I like Lady
Very
Gaga.
fair.
She's extremely talented. She's a part of the community now. She does a great job. I saw her show, and it's fantastic. So I wish her the best. And when I think of drugs, the first person I don't think of is Lady Gaga. So we hope she's doing well, and we hope she gets better. Mr. Schaefer, have a good day, my friend. We will see you. It's Friday tomorrow. It's Friday.
Is Friday.
Yeah, it is. I know you're always in a good mood when it's Friday.
Yes.
Always. And I think every other day he wears a Vegas Golden Knights shirt. He is like a mega Vegas Golden Knights
every other
fan.
day.
They really do. Yeah, didn't they win the other day?
Yeah, they did, and I had him.
You did.
I
You
took
bet
him.
on them. Yeah.
I did
All right,
take
Mr. Schaefer, thank you very much, sir.
Thanks a lot,
Appreciate
John.
it. Take that Penn State mug and get out of here. Thank you very much.
Don't let people know my mug is in here.
Fair enough. Uh-oh, cat's out of the bag. Uh-oh. Whoops. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to
I finally understood that. It took me like 5 seconds to process that. Good one, John.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, boy, is this pissing me off. You could be making $25-30 million a year in the NBA, and the NBA says, yeah, it's okay if you don't want to play in a back-to-back game, Kawhi Leonard. You could take the day off. It doesn't matter if people are spending $200 or $300, $400, $500 to see your game. It's okay. Take the day off. It's fine. You couldn't even do that in a cubicle, let alone making $30 million a year in the NBA. We're going to talk about this and why I think it sets a horrible precedence for professional athletes and professional sports. We'll take a quick break. We'll talk about this when we come back. You're listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Hey, I'm Hall of Fame catcher Johnny Bench. I used to hit dingers and throw lasers when I was a Major League Baseball player. Now I do yard work, raise my boys, and get the occasional 18 holes in, but I still have to deal with that Hall of Fame pain. I use Blue Emu pain relief products. The Blue Emu Maximum Arthritis or Continuous Spray are easy to use. I just spray or rub it on. No stinging or burning. Blue Emu. It works fast and you won't stink. Available at nationwide retailers.
Hey, my friend's company spent 3 days cleaning up an email phishing attack that targeted several dozen employees.
Yeah, if just one malicious email slips through, an attack can spread quickly and do serious damage.
What if that happens to us?
Don't worry, we have Barracuda Forensics and Incident Response.
So we're good?
Yes, with fast automated response and remediation, all traces of the attack can be removed in less than 5 minutes.
Wow, that's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda. Your journey secured.
Looking for that perfect new piece of furniture for your home? A New Concept Furniture is the place to start and end your search. They'll beat any price on the internet, and they're here locally, so you can feel what you're buying first. Go to A New Concept Furniture today at 4255 South Grand Canyon to see for yourself the slick, modern, shiny store that mirrors our shiny city. A New Concept. Check out their showroom or call them at 702-570-2240. That's 702-570-2240.
If your retirement plan is on set it and forget it, it's time to take control. Tune in Saturday at 4 p.m. for Financial Safari with America's Wealth Coach and best-selling author, Coach Pete D'Arruda. For more than 25 years, Coach Pete has been helping people just like you plan for retirement. Join Coach Pete every week as he discusses topics like why your retirement plan should also be an income plan and how to make sure you're getting the most out of your 401k. Financial Safari with Coach Pete, Saturday afternoons at 4 on KDWN 101.5 FM and 720 AM.
Maybe it's time to take a fresh look at everything we thought we knew about landing a great job. For instance, what if phenomenal careers start at the middle school science fair instead of at the job fair? If being the captain of the robotics team means just as much on a college application as being captain of the football team. And if knowing the quadratic formula is every bit as important as knowing the right people. Well, the fact is, the jobs of the future will be heavily geared towards science, technology, engineering, and math. In other words, the future is STEM. More opportunities, better pay. And the road to these great jobs starts as early as middle school. So if you're a student, talk to your school counselor about STEM. If you're a parent, talk to your kids. Because the job you'll get in the future may very well depend on what you do today. A public service message from America's Navy.
Hearing loss?
loss is a growing health issue, but did you know that an estimated 1.1 billion young people worldwide are at risk of developing the condition? Limit your exposure to loud noises and use ear protection when attending sporting events or concerts. Also, limit your earbud headphones to no more than 60 minutes at a time and at 60% of the volume. And talk to your primary care physician or other health professional to get a hearing test. Go to www.hearingloss.org. A public service message from the Hearing Loss Association of America, High Health Innovations, and this station.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
The Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber, a nonprofit organization, offers many membership benefits to both business and individuals. Reach us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or on the website, VegasHealthFitnessChamber.com.
There are lots of ways to be a kid. Is to take a road that's not easy. So it's a good thing I'm an adventurer.